Hello and welcome to The Agenda. I am Kerwin Gaines, and this week we have Mr. Marcus Henry. Welcome, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Kerwin. I appreciate it.
We are excited to have you here. It is, I guess it's always political season, right? There's always some sort of election going on, but this is an important one for those living in Newcastle County. The current executive, Matt Meyer, his term is up, and it is time to find a new county executive, and you would like to fill that seat.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you for coming on to the agenda. We hope it's definitely not your last time.
Thank you.
But we feel strongly here that we're going to give everyone the opportunity to hear the candidates' ideas and their direction and what they plan to do in their elected office. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us. But some people may not know who you are, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate this. I am born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. Very proud of that fact. And in my household with my mother and father, they raised my brother and I, John, the importance of public service and giving back to the community. We were fortunate that we had a middle-class household. We went to Catholic school. We didn't go without anything, thanks to my mom and dad. But with that, there was a responsibility, especially as young African Americans, to always give back, to be engaged in the community. I learned that from both my mother and my father.
Now, your mother held public office.
Yes, she did. Senator Margaret Rose Henry. She served in the state Senate for over 20 years. She's my hero. She's my inspiration. And really, it wasn't planned, but my career trajectory was because of her.
Okay.
And just that public service and what we're doing. So fast forward to currently, I just finished up working 11 years at Newcastle County government. I resigned about a year and a half ago to focus on this run for public office. I had the honor of working with the last three county executives, Matt Meyer for 6 years, Tom Gordon, and Paul Clark. So I have a unique perspective in terms of how to manage government affairs. I had the honor of running the Department of Community Services, which oversight with community development and housing, library management and operations, senior services, youth services, all the good stuff that Newcastle County does in terms of programming. Also for a time served as the Economic Development Director for Newcastle County. So I had broad responsibilities. I managed large staff, large budgets, and I think that's really what's required in this position of county executive.
So, I mean, you're no stranger to the ins and outs of Newcastle County Executive Office. The administration is known to have been very political at times internally. And, you know, if you can navigate that,
yes,
I think and hope that you will be okay. But so once elected, if elected, during your first year, give me a few things that you really want to see happen.
I think the most important thing in any government is public safety, number one. And when I say public safety with Newcastle County's role in providing public safety, that's police. That's making sure we have enough police available that are patrolling Newcastle County, which is a pretty big area. But that's also our 911 operators. That's our paramedics. I want to make sure that we're well staffed and we're well funded to meet the increasing needs for these services in Newcastle County. The big challenge that we have right now in Newcastle County, like a lot of jurisdictions, is we're understaffed in policing right now. We have an authorized level of 415 officers. Right now, we're down to about 360, and that's due to retirements, transfers, and folks just leaving law enforcement, which is a whole other issue that we can talk about later. 911 operators, we have increasing demands on those services. Also, I want to mention, although it's not a county function, we help fund, as the state does, volunteer fire service. That's a critical element for Newcastle County. If we had to have a county-run fire department, we couldn't support that budget. So we need to continue to support our volunteer fire companies. That's the first thing in the first year. Second is economic development, new business recruitment, current business retention. I want to particularly focus on small business development in terms of entrepreneurship and access to capital. Third is more quality of life. I think we need to expand on our youth programs and services, especially at-risk youth for Newcastle County programs and services. But a big part of quality of life, and also economic development, I should say, is housing. We have an extreme housing shortage here in Newcastle County, affordable housing, but also market rate housing. So I think the county should play a role in facilitating new housing where appropriate to serve the needs of our public. We don't have enough housing to meet the demand currently in the market here in Newcastle County.
So let's back them up and kind of
Sure.
take one at a time. Policing is a hot topic
Sure,
right now.
sure.
You know, I don't see a library every day. I don't see the county executive building every day, but I do see county police officers every day, and
Sure.
I'm sure that they are doing a great job. So that's the first thing that people think of when they think of the county. So they are your cheerleaders.
Right.
They're the ones out there. But these are, again, very difficult times in law enforcement. There are a lot of people leaving. What do you think are some things that we could do to strengthen the role internally within the ranks of Newcastle
Sure.
County Police?
I think, and this is a complicated issue, we need to restore morale in the police officer, in the police force. And I think one of my objectives will be to bring in veteran leadership in law enforcement to help improve that morale, to have them make sure they feel valued and supported in their actions. Still, obviously accountable to the public in terms of what we do, but we have a job to do to restore morale. And part of that morale, as in anything, is just they're understaffed right now. There's a lot of demands on those services. And quite frankly, the public at large has some legitimate issues in terms of law enforcement perception of how they conduct themselves. So we'll do a better job with leadership, with recruitment, but also in training and also in the community outreach that we do. I think we'll look at a concerted effort to restore, which the county had before, a really robust community policing initiative for Newcastle County. I think those are things that can help in these efforts.
So I know that people will hold you to that in dealing with police unions and the overall structure of the police department. I know it'll be a difficult road.
Sure.
But I do see it as surmountable and something that you can get through in your administration. In regards to housing, were we dealing with the county's role in emergency housing in your explanation there?
Yes, I should mention that obviously transitional housing or the homeless population, the whole continuum of housing is in turmoil, I think, right now, unfortunately, here in Newcastle County. And it's a problem all over the place. In other states and other jurisdictions, you see homelessness as a huge problem in terms of tents being set up, whole communities that don't have access to transitional housing. We need to work diligently to address that population, but also affordable housing and market rate housing, because we just have not produced, for a number of reasons, enough housing over the last 10 to 15 years.
For some of our viewers that don't understand that affordable housing, what that is,
Sure.
Explain that to them.
Well, it's funny because I believe the definition has changed over the last several years. Affordable housing is housing for low-income folks with a median income of anywhere from $70,000 or below, so it's kind of broad. But now, because of this deficit in housing that we have folks that are right out of college. We have folks, like teachers, policemen, public service folks, they can't find affordable housing, market rate housing to support them. And we're losing these folks to other jurisdictions, other states. We, the county, working with the state and other jurisdictions, need to create opportunities for the construction of housing at various price points to meet this demand.
How can we do that?
I think we can do that through our zoning process to Newcastle County. I think we could work with our lenders. We could work with the state in terms of first-time homebuyer programs. We can incentivize development where appropriate to allow for an increase of affordable housing in certain areas. And as I said, affordable housing is now very broad.
Right. Yeah. I want to go back to policing just one quick second, and it's not necessarily policing as much as it is the community and some of these outreach programs. And we know that we are coming on 2 days after a horrible shooting at the Christiana Mall that has rocked the state and surrounding areas with this senseless violence. And these are young folks, young people who are high school age, for the most part, that are committing these crimes. How can the county help with that? Is it a legislation issue that we have to work tandem with the state with? Is it community policing? Is that really the answer? Or is this something social services, community services wise that we can be working with to use to help diffuse this?
Unfortunately, I think it's all the above that's needed here. It's going to be a holistic approach to deal with this problem. There's the gun violence, but there's the issue in terms of youth and the programs they're involved with. It's making sure we're coordinating, we being Newcastle County law enforcement with other jurisdictions, with the state police, Wilmington, Newark, what have you. I can't speak to, I don't know the particulars of what happened. We don't know yet with respect to Christiana Mall, but I think it's going to take a holistic approach to deal with this thing in the future.
Yeah,
and I want to be a part of that. I think the county needs to be a part of that conversation no matter what.
If you could have the governor here and the mayors from all the local jurisdictions, and you had a quick second to talk about it. What would you say to them?
Let's get together, let's talk, let's get a task force of law enforcement and across the board and talk about how we address this the next several years. Yeah, we have to. We have to.
Mr. Henry, this is so much that, that people don't understand. You know, I wouldn't say the burden of the county executive, but the responsibilities of the county executive. People want to know, why do you want this job?
I enjoyed this work. It's my life's passion. I love public service. I've been fortunate to work in the private sector before, but I always kind of gravitate back towards public service. I enjoy local government. I enjoy what we do at Newcastle County. It's impactful what we do at Newcastle County. We're a direct service government, so there's like one line between the public and us in terms of those services. So whether it's economic development, community development and housing, libraries, land use, as I mentioned, water, sewer infrastructure, all these public safety, these are all things that affect everyone's quality of life every single day.
Yeah.
So people don't realize how impactful local government can be, especially Newcastle County. And I feel I have a vision to help lead us into the future in these areas.
Well, it sure sounds like it. So we're looking at the county as a whole. What areas of the county do you feel that just haven't received the amount of attention necessary?
It's been a complaint for some time, and I think it's well-founded. I think we need to do a better job of services to southern Newcastle County, specifically the MOT area, Middletown, Townsend, Odessa.
I'm a resident there, so
I think you totally get that, right? And in fairness, I think we have made a concerted effort under this current administration. There's a new library, which, by the way, I oversaw library operations for Newcastle County as well. I was responsible for the site acquisition and assisting in the construction of the new Middletown Library. I'm proud of that. So we have a new library there. We have a new regional park that's coming there soon. We'll have a new substation for the police down there. But there's more that we need to do because the population, as we're seeing the trends, census data, what have you, are moving south, right? The development's truly happening in southern Newcastle County. And with that, it's not just the county, but Middletown, the town itself and others. That's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of government services that are needed there, and the public deserves that.
Right.
And we'll make that happen.
You are going to make that happen.
We're going to try our best to make that happen, okay?
Well, you know, they appreciate it. I appreciate it. There's just so much space down there. There's things growing, and it's subtle things. And I don't even know if the county can help, but just like we don't have enough supermarkets down there. There's areas, and I've talked to Kevin Hensley about this, and it's just there's areas there that we're just not, still not having the right utilities necessary down there.
Right. I think that's part of the land use process and planning that happens there. Some of that's the county, some of that's Middletown, to be honest with you. But I think it's important when we see, especially like residential growth in certain areas, that we have the supportive services congruent with that help grow with that, like grocery stores, like hospitals, like these services that are needed. We have to balance the growth with having these services available. So I think it goes to planning, and planning's the state, that's Middletown, that's Newcastle County.
Yeah. The other thing about the county is I feel that it's always ripe for opportunity.
Sure.
We're in the middle of everything from New York to Philadelphia to Jersey and Maryland. I mean, what are some opportunities that you would like to bring to this area?
I think we have beautiful parks here in Newcastle County that folks, some are aware of, but not everybody. People travel for our parks. We have actually the best library system, I think, in the northeast quarter of this country, and that's something to be proud of. But we have a lot of nice quality of life features here in Newcastle County. So that goes to tourism, right? But also, I want to make sure folks are proud to live here in Newcastle County, proud of the good things that we have. But there are areas of improvement, that we need to look at. One of those things is, now this is really a county function, but it's something that always bothers me, that in my role as county executive, although we don't have jurisdiction over it, it's education. We've got to
collect the tax for it.
We collect the tax that goes to the state.
Back to the state,
that's all we really do. But I want to work with whoever the next governor is and just in other jurisdictions to see how can we tackle and improve education from a holistic approach. I'll say that. Now, what we do currently in Newcastle County, what I'll expand on, is after-school programs or libraries. Do some mentorship programs. Just get engaged with the school districts directly on some after-school programs. But I want to be a voice at the table to advocate for educational improvement here in Newcastle County, because that goes hand in hand with quality of life, also economic development and jobs, everything.
And especially in the zip codes that we're in now,
Sure.
right? We're in the 19801, 19804, and a couple other things around
Mm-hmm.
here that are really struggling right now when it comes to education. We
Sure.
have some great programs out there, but how do you feel, and how do you think the county could assist with that?
Well, I think we can be a facilitator. I think we can help bring in experts. I think we can be at the table. I think we're appropriate. We can provide some seed funding for some of these initiatives.
Mm-hmm.
We've done some of this before in the past. But I think we can't just, although it's not a county function, it's too important not to be engaged on that. Just
I
too
couldn't
important.
agree with you more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more. You've also brought up to me off air,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think you mind me bringing it up, that you and your wife have a special business
Yes.
that you're working with,
Yes.
and tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, and thank you for bringing that up. That's the second passion in my life, is special needs kids. Our son, when he was 2.5, was diagnosed with autism, and there were not enough services at that time available in Delaware in terms of behavioral support services to help with his needs. And we were driving, my wife and I, back and forth from Pennsylvania to other providers. And so we got our resources together, we got our business acumen together, and we figured out a path of how can create this service here locally in Delaware. Mm-hmm. So at that time, it was called Brandywine Center for Autism. We were running out the modular, the old school at St. Helena's. We had 5 kids and 2 therapists. This was in 2014. And I'm happy to say, with the hard work of my wife, our clinical staff, and our team, we've grown into the largest provider in the state of Delaware in this space. It's now called Bright Bloom, where we have 3 service centers, in Delaware. We have Wilmington, Middletown, and Milford, where we provide center-based services to children with autism. We also expanded to South Jersey just last year. We service over 120 kids statewide at one time. We work in some of the school districts to help support the teachers and the paraprofessionals in the schools. It's one of my proudest achievements, and I'm happy to say that my son's doing very well, and we've helped hundreds of kids over the years.
And do you think some of that could integrate into county services, or expanding our help to those with autistic issues?
Well, and we've had some initiatives, I should say, in the past, under previous administrations. We have a park, Glasgow Park has a special playground for special needs kids. I'm proud of, I helped with that initiative. At our Route 9 library, we have a sensory room to help with kids with autism to experience the library programming. But to your point, I would love to see us expand those opportunities for these kids at other county facilities and parks, and just continue on that track. I think it's vitally important.
Right. So this is, I want to give you the opportunity now to some people say, well, deliver your stump speech, but to really tell people why you feel that you should be in this office.
Thank you for that opportunity. I have 20 years of experience in public service. I've managed large departments. I care about the job that I do. I love the job that I do, and I care about people. This is my life. This is my career objective, and I would be so honored to serve in this office. I have the experience, because the county executive's role, we've talked about it. It's a large job. You're managing over 1,500 people. You have an operating budget of over $300 million. You're responsible for all these services we've talked about: land use, public safety, economic development, water sewer infrastructure, all these things. You want somebody with experience, knows what they're doing, is passionate about that, and that's me. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and I'm excited for this opportunity.
We need someone with experience.
Thank you.
The county executive office is no time to play catch up.
No.
And whomever it is that wins that office, we need that there. 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Well, hopefully getting ready for my second term as county executive.
And what do you feel that you would have accomplished in those 5 years?
We're on a trajectory of providing more housing for people, as we've talked about. We have a good police force that's engaged with the public, and there's good communication. We've expanded our youth programs and services for at-risk kids. We have a county government that's open and transparent, and people are proud of here.
It's a great place. Oh, the other thing, what would you tell the people that are thinking about moving to Newcastle County?
Please move to Newcastle County. It's Delaware. You don't have a sales tax. Quality of life's here. People are nice here. You know, everybody's a neighbor. Everybody's, and there's 1 degree of separation here in Delaware. As
Is it just 1 degree? I mean, it seems
half a
sometimes
degree at this point. And we're welcoming folks here. We welcome folks here.
Yeah,
it's a good place to raise a family.
Mr. Henry, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you.
time
I
to be
appreciate
with
your
us here
opportunity.
today.
Thank you.
We
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. We look forward to having future conversations with you. And if there's anything that you'd like to come back on the agenda and discuss with us, please let us know.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time right here on the agenda.